Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're all about getting to the bottom of things, figuring out what's really going on, and today we're really going deep.
Yeah, we're diving into a document, you could call it Strategic Decisions, the Unseen Layer.
And this isn't just another business report, is it?
Not at all. What we found so interesting is that it argues that, especially when we're talking about these complex areas like ESG, environmental, social, and governance, all the reports and regulations, they're just one side of the coin.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's the human dynamics, the hidden stuff that really drives the big decisions.
Okay, so think about this. We've got companies pouring tons of resources into tracking something as complex as their Scope 3 emissions. That's all the emissions in their supply chain, right?
Exactly.
And they're doing this even though there's all this, well, uncertainty on how to even measure it and pushback against regulations like the CSRD.
The Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive.
Yeah, that's the one. It's faced a lot of debate. So today's deep dive is all about figuring out why. Why are companies doing this? What's going on beneath the surface?
Well, the document makes a pretty compelling argument. It says that regulations like the CSRD, yeah, they're important, but they're not the whole story.
Right.
Human factors, power dynamics within companies, and the whole competitive landscape, they're all crucial in deciding which strategies actually take off.
Okay, so let's get into it. Why are companies spending all this money on Scope 3 when there are so many challenges? The document gives us three main reasons, right?
Right. Number one, risk management.
Uh-huh.
By being more transparent about their supply chains, through Scope 3 reporting, companies can see potential crises coming.
I see. So it's like an early warning system.
Exactly. Imagine you could see that one of your suppliers is, I don't know, facing environmental problems that could really mess up your production.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so what's the second reason?
Investor expectations. Investors are increasingly looking at ESG reporting, especially Scope 3 data, as a sign that a company is well managed and thinking long term.
So it's not just about following the rules.
No.
It's about attracting investors.
Right. Investors want to see that commitment.
Got it. And the third point.
It's the potential impact of regulations, even though there's some political pushback. The EU is still pushing forward with these big sustainability regulations.
Yeah.
So companies that invest in Scope 3 now, they're probably trying to get ahead of the game and be ready when those regulations really hit.
Okay, so this all ties into the debate we've seen around the CSRD. Now, the document frames this not as, just a technical argument about report.
Oh, it's much deeper than that.
Yeah.
It highlights the tension, the conflict between sustainability in the long term and the pressure to perform well economically right now.
I see. So it's like, are we thinking about the future or are we just focused on the bottom line today?
Exactly, and that tension, it frames the whole conversation around these regulations.
So to understand these dynamics, the document brings up this idea of human intelligence, and we're not talking about spies here.
No, not at all.
This is about understanding the role of people in strategic decision-making.
Right. What's really fascinating is how they apply it. You see, the document says, okay, regulations, they're the framework, but it's understanding people, their motivations, their influence, and, well, their psychology that really determines which strategies succeed.
So Humint is kind of like deciphering the power dynamics in, say, a regulatory negotiation.
Exactly. Like, who are the key players? What are their agendas?
And wouldn't it help to anticipate resistance within a company when they're trying to implement new ESG standards?
Absolutely.
You could have the best strategy in the world, but if you don't get people on board, you're going to hit a wall.
You're exactly right. Think about a situation where, say, the sustainability manager wants to make a big change, but the operations team is only worried about efficiency.
Yeah, classic clash.
That's where understanding the human element comes in. And it's not just about internal dynamics. It's about figuring out what really motivates your stakeholders, your employees, your customers, your investors. What do they actually care about? If you get that, your strategy is much more likely to work in the long run.
So what we're learning here is that making good strategic decisions, especially when it comes to something like ESG, it's not just about knowing the rules. It's about knowing the people.
Exactly. It's about understanding the people who make the rules, the people who have to follow them, the whole human system.
And the document's conclusion.
The companies that are going to thrive, they're the ones that go beyond just checking boxes. They integrate this human element into their strategies. They get that real resilience comes from understanding the unseen layers.
So as you're thinking about the big decisions in your own world, think about that unseen layer. Regulations and reports matter, but the real drivers of change, they're often hidden in plain sight. It's about the human behavior and motivations within your organization. It's about the bigger environment you're operating in. So what are the hidden dynamics influencing the decisions you're seeing every day? That's something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us.